You worked with whomever you wanted to work with and only who you wanted to work with on what you wanted to work on, exactly the work, the projects, the skills, the gifts and talents in your joy and genius zone, that you worked when you wanted to work, whatever days a week, what hours of the day, where you wanted to work from, where is your perfect place to work from, how much you wanted to charge, how much you wanted to work, and that your why, you really, really knew why you were doing this. And you didn't have to do anything that you didn't want to do. Not because anybody else is doing that in your business, not because anybody else says you need to do things a certain way. That is my wish for you. My wish is that you experience financial freedom. Whatever that number means for you, that it's an internal state that you can bring into yourself. Hey there, it's Samantha Hartley of the Profitable Joyful Consulting Podcast. This season, we have been talking about money. And today, the release date of this episode is July 4th. That means it's Independence Day. And what better day to talk about financial independence and financial freedom? You know, in the very first episode of the season, Passion Projects, I talked about my book, Personal Finance for Kids. And then it would be released sometime during the season, which it has not yet been, but look for that next season. And in researching the book, I was learning more and more about the ideas of financial freedom and financial independence. And some people will use those terms independently. And I think the key piece for me about this is that I don't want everybody to have to wait until some point in the future to enjoy financial freedom and independence. I want you to be able to live what Ramit Sethi calls a rich life right now. What is your rich life? I want you to feel that. And I want you to feel financial freedom in your business. Freedom is actually my number one value in my business. I have different personal values, but in my business, freedom is number one. Why? Because in my work life in the past, I had miserable jobs and miserable work experiences that made me feel trapped and frustrated and sometimes just, depressed. So I vowed when I left corporate that I would never, ever put myself in that position again. And so in my business, the freedom to choose what I want to do is absolutely key. And so you may say, well, what about profitable and joyful? Yes, definitely. But there's no amount of profits that are more important than that I am feeling free to do what I want and free to be joyful. Those are my values. So if freedom is one of your values, or if you just want to feel more financially free, more financially expansive in your own business and have choices that will make you feel free and financially independent, then I'm going to share with you today exactly how you can do that. And I'm going to do it in the format of the 5 W's from journalism and the H. So you may remember those from, I wasn't a journalist, I learned them in high school, how to write an article, so you cover all of the topics. So I'm going to cover all of the topics the journalists would cover on this important one today, how you can feel more financially free and independent in your business. Now, one of the first concepts that I want to share with you is, I want to ask you, in financial freedom and independence, it's almost always about how much, what's that number? What's the number for you? And I want you to think about in your business, how much your business needs to earn for you to feel like you can be free. And I want to encourage you that it doesn't have to be as much as you think it does. When my clients come to me, they're completely reasonable. They're not saying they want to be billionaire space race guys. They're saying, I want to bring in a certain amount of money. And sometimes that's millions. My client has said, the universe said I have a $2 million business, and we're building that business. I have a few clients who have crossed the $1 million mark while working with me. But a lot of my clients, for example, one has said, I don't really care how much the business earns as long as there's $500,000 a year for me. Great. So $500,000 for you as income and not revenue for the business, that may be your number. You may say, I can work with 200,000, whatever is your number. I want you to know that that is reasonable and you can earn that. And an empowering belief that I want to share with you is you can have what you want in your business. You can have what you want. And I think it's really important for us as consultants to affirm that for ourselves, because you're not asking for anything unreasonable here. So you can earn what you want and you can have what you want. You can have the kind of business you want. That to me is the freedom piece. So what I want is for us to never be in a position where financially we feel stuck. So we have to make choices that go against that freedom. That's the thing that I'm avoiding at all costs. And I'm going to share with you how we can do that. So one of the ways that you get what you want in your business is, first of all, by knowing what that is. And so I'll talk with clients a lot of times, and they'll be sharing with me what their goals are. Not everyone is goal oriented, so it's not necessarily a tangible goal. Sometimes it can be like a way I want to feel or some things I want to experience in my business, and that's okay. The important thing is to be clear about what that is. So I said to a client the other day, after she had kind of shared some things with me, what I said was, if I were the universe, I wouldn't know what to give you. I wouldn't know what to do for you because it's not clear to me what you want. So I want you to just make sure as you articulate this for yourself, like my test is like it should fit on a Post-it. You should be able to write down, this is what I want to feel, earn, experience, whatever is the thing that you're working towards, that you need to be able to articulate that concisely enough that when you say that as a prayer, or you launch that as an intention, or you post that on your board as a goal, that you feel that someone else would understand it. I want your prayers to be able to be answered, so they need to be clear enough. So figure out what you want, declare that to the universe on your Post-it, and then the next piece for you is going to be to take action. And this is where a lot of people feel like the law of attraction is like, oh, no, I just say what I want. No. Attraction has the word action in it. Now you're going to take action. It's going to be inspired action. It's like when you think about that thing that it is what you want, you think, what's the next thing that I'm going to do? So put that into practice. That's the action piece of this. And then I want you to prepare to receive that. So how can this look in a business? These are the 5 W's that I'm going to get into for you. The first piece of this, the first piece of how we get what we want in a business and how you're going to feel free is that you don't have to work with anybody that you don't want to work with. Ever. Working with wrong fit clients is destructive to, first of all, to your soul and your spirit, but they're not profitable and they're not joyful. They're bad for business. So there's never a good reason to take a wrong fit client. Now, clients are usually varying degrees of perfect fit, of right fit. And so you're going to look for the most perfect and rightest fit at this time, but you have to say no to terrible clients. So our first W is who? You will feel amazing working in your business when you realize you have the freedom to turn down anybody who's not a right fit for you. But I need the money. If you take clients because of the money, you're going to find that you are saying yes to the wrong thing, and you're going to get more and more and more of that. You get more of what you say yes to. So if you say yes to a terrible client, just get ready. There's just going to be a stampede of the wrong thing right behind them. In my experience, when I have said no to the wrong fit client, even when it was super scary financially, immediately 3 perfect clients showed up. So I want you to believe in yourself and to trust your value enough that you can turn down the wrong thing, turn down the wrong who. And I have strings and strings of perfect clients. Almost all my clients are perfect, absolute perfect fit and amazing fit as people as well. However, just recently allowed someone to come in, took on a new client, and it took me a minute to realize super dysfunctional person, that kind of person I can work with. And it was luckily weeks and not years when I realized this. Did not take a dime. I said, oh, don't have to pay me any money. I'll show myself out. It's not you, it's me. The whole thing was not the right fit. And I was like, oops, I'm not doing this. Oops. They got through my extremely discerning filters because of a referral who I trusted. So I thought I didn't need to double click on certain aspects. Nevertheless, even if you today accidentally invite somebody in who's not a right fit, you still have the freedom, the financial freedom to say that money, not worth it. Cool? So that's the who. What's the next one? What? What is the work that you're doing? I want you to feel that you can always work in your joy and genius zone. That is the most valuable place for you. And the funny thing is that sometimes that will feel like you're not working. And so because it's not hard, you don't feel like you need to charge a lot of money for it. And because it's not hard work, and because it's so easy for you, you feel like, well, I'll do it all the time. I'll work a lot. You don't have to work a lot. For you in your joy and genius zone, it's probably that you're able to work incredibly efficiently and not do a lot of work in terms of time and not do a lot of work in terms of effort. And it's still incredibly valuable, super high value. So work in that area, focus on that first. Now, sometimes you'll find you love everything except for suddenly you've fallen out of love with the what. What you're doing isn't as fun and interesting anymore. So clients will come to me and they'll say, I want to grow my business, but I'm out of love with. And I'll say, did you used to love this thing that you're doing? Yes. Okay, well, guess what? You've evolved. You're different now. And you're not the same as you were 5 years ago. And stuff that was fun and interesting 5 years ago, well, you've seen that movie already. So you need new IP. You need new ideas. You need new content, new stuff for yourself to work on, new discoveries. And good, it's a really good thing because you're good at finding that stuff. You're a genius. So find a new joy and genius zone, get great at that, and then market that because people can't guess what that is. If you have a new thing that you're excited about, either your existing clients will love that or different new clients will love that. But you got to tell people that that's available. So give yourself permission to do two things. Work in your joy and genius zone exclusively. Don't work on stuff you don't want to be working on. And evolve and grow as your passions change and as you as a person grow and evolve. So we've done who, what, and next one is when. So when do you work? I think this is really key because you can be a choice with this. You can be free to work when you want to. One of the first things I put in my perfect client profile many years ago was that they don't care when I work. They allow me to work when I choose to, knowing that I may work an unconventional work day or work week. So I have mentioned before that some of my clients follow my model, which is on Mondays and Fridays, we work on our number one client. That's you. That's us, meaning on our own businesses. And on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, those are days that are allotted for client work. So you can structure your week like that. Plenty of people are night owls or morning people. You might begin your day at 5 a.m. and have everything done by the time everybody else is getting ready to work. I'm not that person. I'm personally a 10 to 4 person, and I like a long middle of the day break kind of thing. You can work whenever you want. I spoke with someone today who was working before work hours and at night because she has a client in Europe. If you choose that and it's really worth that, that's great. And I feel like, do you feel free enough to say, I'm not going to do that kind of work? So for me, I love my Australian colleagues, and I don't choose to have clients in Australia because I just cannot work that time zone reasonably. And I would want to ask somebody else to do a crazy time zone. So you can work when you want and earn what you want. The next thing is where. Where should you be working? Somebody today on LinkedIn mentioned commute. And I thought, oh my gosh, remember commutes? Oh yeah, commute. Like how much time do we sit in traffic on the way to somewhere else? Like the least productive time. And that was back in the bad old days before podcasts, at least for me. We didn't have, like, what was going on? What were we thinking? So if you have a commute, I want you to snap to your senses and realize you can be working from anywhere that you want to. So seriously, though, self-employment and independence, financial independence, means being able to turn down the work that you don't want to do, where you don't want to do it, and work where you do want to. You know, clients may ask you to come in. I have some clients who don't market in their local area because they feel like the people around them would want them to come into the office instead of meet with them remotely or work for them remotely. That's fine. You can also teach people, I may be here in town, but I'm not going to come in. I'm going to work remotely. You may ever come in, and I want you to think about the idea of strategic presence, which is that you're not there all the time, that you are, but when you are there, it makes a big impression. So you really use your presence to expedite the work and to do better work. So examples of that would be when there's a kickoff meeting and we want to get everybody on the same page, or a milestone meeting where we want to really celebrate where we've been, or anytime the work that you do, you need to be in person doing something amazing with it. So it's by choice. If you love all your work to be on site and with clients, awesome. You get to do that and you get to say where you're going to do that. As far as location independence and remote work, having been remote for over 10 years, what I can tell you is you get to choose where you live if you're able to do that, or where you go to. And one of my clients has decided that when she is on site working with her clients, she wants them to be in places that have really good food and music. So she finds music festivals and then she goes to those places, and that's where she's looking for clients. It may feel like, well, that's not like an option that people can reasonably have. It's totally an option. You're sending a message to the universe of like, here's where I want my clients to be. And suddenly you'll find they are. By the way, she spent the cold part of the year in Austin, which is very good food and music town. Now, I'm going to interrupt our W's for a quick H, which is occasionally comes up. And that is how. And I'm going to use that to say how much, because we're talking about financial and we're talking about freedom, and how here is how much. How much do you really need to earn? So I really want you to think about this. How much do you need to work? How much do you choose to earn? And I want you to allow there to be a limit to that. I really loved this season when Jen Sapel came on. We were talking about investments, and I was saying to these kind of ESG, the investments that are good for the earth and for people and good for the greater good, those really out-earn the S&P 500. And she had this amazing answer, which was like, really, how much? How much do you, if you're earning as much as your goals were, if you're earning what you wanted, is that enough money? And I was like, yeah, of course. Again, you don't need to be a Mars billionaire, do you? If you do, cool. I might not be the right podcast or coach for you. But if you just want to earn X, 200,000, 500,000, 2 million, 5 million, then great. And that means you don't have to keep pushing. You don't have to keep working. So you can put a lid on your own expansion. One of the things about capitalism in general is that there's this, it has to be more and more and more and more. And for those of us in businesses for ourselves, if you push yourself to more and more and more and more, on the one hand, there's growth, but growth isn't always expansion. Growth can be internal growth of like increased meaning, increased satisfaction, knowing yourself better, experiencing things. So I really want to challenge you. Listen, if you're not earning how much you want to be earning, then of course, let's do all the things you want to do so that you can bring in more earnings. That's fine. But if you feel like, listen, I'm doing 250, I have a choice. I can either expand my business or I can keep it where it is. My business was steady for a few years because I was working exactly as much as I wanted to work, and I was enjoying my life very greatly. And then the universe said, you need to serve more people. And I was like, all right. And so then I chose to work more and bring in more clients and more revenue. And I could have also said, I'm going to do things differently. I'm going to earn more through the existing clients I have. But nevertheless, the idea of more and more and more, I want you to watch yourself on that and make sure that you're not feeling a compulsion to bring in more because that's what they say you need to do. That's what society says you need to do, or that's what your, all of the traditional business books say. If you're not growing, you're shrinking. If you don't have more and more and more, then you're losing. Is that really true? So I was perfectly happy bringing in exactly as much year after year for a few years. It worked for me great. I loved my clients and I loved that I had a super easy work style. And okay, so I went up a level and I can go up a level. I can go up a level as far as I want to. And then I can decide if I don't go up levels, it doesn't speak to who I am as a business person. It's not that I'm less as a person. It's not less success. What's your definition of success? And more importantly, what's your definition of freedom? You only have yourself. You run your own race, you keep your eyes on your own paper, and what's your measure of success? So I want to challenge the idea that it always needs to be more and more and more. And if you're like, you know what, I want to bring in $249,052, that's how much you bring in. And when you brought that in, you can tell everybody else there's a wait list to work with you until next year. All right, our last W. We did who, what, when, where, how much, and then now we're going to do why. That to me is the key. Why are you even doing this? Why did you want to be self-employed? And why are you working in your business? What is your why? What are your values? I've shared with you mine. I would love for you, as your homework assignment, to revisit what are the values that you want to bring into your business, and what is your business doing for you? Is it about more money? Is it about experiences, challenges, fun, joy, profit? What is what you want to bring into your business? Like, why are you doing this? And after you decide your values, I want you to ask yourself, can you feel financially free in your business right now? Can you feel financially free? And especially if you were to take the actions so that you did the following. You worked with whomever you wanted to work with and only who you wanted to work with on what you wanted to work on, exactly the work, the projects, the skills, the gifts and talents in your joy and genius zone, that you worked when you wanted to work, whatever days a week, what hours of the day, where you wanted to work from. I'm here on my island. Where is your perfect place to work from? How much you wanted to charge, how much you wanted to work, and that your why, you really, really knew why you were doing this. And you didn't have to do anything that you didn't want to do. Not because anybody else is doing that in your business, not because anybody else says you need to do things a certain way. That is my wish for you. My wish is that you experience financial freedom. Whatever that number means for you, that it's an internal state that you can bring into yourself. And as we conclude the money season, I want to let you know that next season, we are going to be talking about empowering women, whatever it takes to empower them. All of the ways that we empower each other and ourselves. So I'm so looking forward to that topic. And to me, one of my favorite ways that I've been able to empower women in my business is by helping them to make way more money while also being joyful. And with that, I'm wishing you a profitable and joyful business and a wonderful Independence Day every single day of the year.